Good morning, afternoon and evening. Welcome back to another Gran Turismo 7 video. Now, as people that play this game know, the AI in the normal races in Gran Turismo 7 is crap. But there can be a way of making the races a bit more exciting to race against the regular AI. And that is by handicapping yourself by using slower vehicles in the game. So this video I am going to be in 3 races of my choosing where I will personally use a much slower car than theoretically what the leader should be. The first race I wanted to do was the Nissan GTR Cup, mainly because I had a bit of a loose end to clean up when it comes to events I hadn't won, and I was using this, the Nissan R34 GTR, but it is completely bone stock. I think I put sports medium tyres on this thing, or sports softs, but that's it. Still had 300 horsepower, still had 1500 kilos in the thing, so it's not like it was a nimble thing. But how you make up the deficit in this game against the AI opponents is around the corners. For whatever reason, all the AI are about as slow as the speed of snail round these corners, and there is another one of my characteristic fuck-ups, but that's how people make their time up in this game. It's like when I do those weekly challenges, I handicap myself on purpose to make the racing a bit more exciting, because even though I may be slower down the straights, I can catch up around the corners. And the Nissan GTR Cup is a good yardstick for this idea, because a lot of these cars are heavily modified. All the R34s, 33s, 35s, etc. They all have light to heavy modifications on them. So they're around the 600 horsepower mark, theoretically. And this thing has half of that. See, look, there's me passing a 2024 spec GTR. Here is when the inevitable happened. I think it was about lap 3 or lap 4. I caught up with the Mines Skyline, who was the fastest car in this race. This was one of the newest races in the game, so they're going to highlight the Mines Skyline that was introduced in Spec 3. And I just clean past it. Literally has 621 horsepower out of the box. This thing has about 325. In reality, that shouldn't even be a competition, because it's not like the R34 GTR is a light nimble thing. No, it's got a bit of weight to it. It waddles around. There's the Mine Skyline blowing past me back on the straight, but I did end up getting past him. If you look in a later clip here, you can see me in the foreground and the Mine Skyline in the background. But even stock, this was a fun thing to throw around. It's fun just driving regular ass cars and not absolutely modifying the hell out of them. The second race was a Japanese Clubman Cup race around one of the Tokyo Expressway layouts, and this is the vehicle that I used for this handicap event, a Toyota 2000 GT. So classic car. Again, if it's got modifications on it, they're very little ones. I may have put new tyres on them, contrary to popular belief right there, but it shouldn't be in competition with the likes of R32 GTRs with modifications on them, NSX Type Rs, new Mark V Supras. You get what I mean. It shouldn't even be a discussion. But this 2000 GT in my hands versus every one of these sports Japanese cars in the AI's hands, well, you might as well be driving Toyota Sports 800s against the 2000 GT, because I was absolutely flying through the pack. It took me, I think, up to 2 laps to catch up to the leading car, but it is a good grid of vehicles. It's just a shame that they get so hamstrung by this Gran Turismo AI. Like, if you look through there, there's a 350s, 370, R32, Mark V, and there's a GR86. Good group of cars. And we were catching up to third here. This is a Mazda RX-7, and the leading 2 cars was the SS version of the AE86, so lightly modified just to begin with, and the NSX Type R. And I managed to outdrag most of these cars. I was surprised to see the speed of this 2000 GT. I think it reached up to about 140 miles an hour, but even with this major mistake, which would have cost a hell of a lot in real life, I managed to catch up to the NSX once again. And for this race, or for this part of the race, sorry, I put my telemetry on the screen to show the speed. 130 miles per hour is quite impressive for this car, but for the NSX Type R, that should be the norm. I shouldn't be passing it down the straight. I think this livery that I've made, by the way, off topic, is a custom-made livery of mine. So if you want to check out this livery and others that I have made, it is on my personal Gran Turismo page. Anyway, it is a fun car to slide around and drive. And as we head up to the finish line, I would win this race by a country mile. The third race would be probably the most challenging of the lot, the Schwarzwald League race at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. So lots of long straights, and I was using this, the BMW 3 litre CSL. It's an impressive car of the time, of course, but when you compare it to cars like a 911 GT3 and a Carrera GT and an AMG GTS, which are all vehicles in this race, it shouldn't even be a contest. But somehow, as we saw it, as we look at the end of the race with a bit of not so clean driving, it would end up being a, well, close affair. It was fun to drive, I will admit that. The 3 litre CSL is a fun wagon to spin around, but it doesn't mean it should be keeping up with a fucking Porsche 959 of all things, and pulling away from it, because top speed, it wasn't that high. You'll see later in the video that it was not the most impressive thing down the straights, and in this race there was a bit of rain, so I will admit that probably did help me, because I could carry more speed around the corners where I already had a massive advantage compared to these cars that I'm catching up to, and I was able to catch up to them way faster. But it just makes it look like the race car version of the 3 litre CSL. I think the only thing I would have done is change the tyres. I think it's got sports mediums on them, but that's about it. And it was a bit of a strange affair doing these sort of races, purposefully handicapping myself. Usually when it comes to these races, before I started uploading these videos to Gran Turismo, I'd use the fastest thing possible and blow through them like they weren't enjoyable. But this makes these races, which are more like cat and mouse chases, more enjoyable, admittedly, because it's not like you're going to pass everyone in about 2 minutes. You are going to work your way through them, maybe even make up deficit in corners and not down the straights. Like definitely in this car, I've got telemetry down the long straight, the Dottinger Hall, and it will show how much down I am on power compared to some of these vehicles that I am passing. I am passing some of these vehicles that I am in a 996 GT3 sandwich, and I am in a 1970s BMW. But it would get quite close and tight knit towards the end of the race, and that's me passing the leader, and then you would think that once I passed the leader, it would be smooth sailing from there. I'd managed to get away, but no, that wasn't the case. So here is the last long straight, the Dottinger Hall, and as you can see, these things are going about 15 to 20 miles per hour faster than me. There's me going 132, and behind me the Mercedes AMG was going past me at about 170. Here, I did see some other cars see how fast they were going. Carrera GT, not as fast as I thought it was. But we moved back to the leaders, including me. I am going 136, nearly 30 to 40 miles per hour slower than the AMG GTR that absolutely blew past me. But here we head to the final corner with my good braking. I managed to get past the AMG that just left the 997 on the last corner. I dived down the inside, admittedly push him off the track, but I still somehow managed to win this race in a 3 litre CSL. It just shows the deficit of the person's abilities and the AI speed. And I'm not even you'd say a brilliant GT driver. I'm not bad. I'll call myself not bad, but it's not like I'm bloody Igor Fraga. I do this for fun. It's not like I've got bags of speed on me. So if you want to see more of this sort of stuff, leave a like and a comment below and suggest some events.